friends, it's Alyssa back at you with some final facts. Boy, I don't know about y'all, but I wish that Tomi Lahren and Fox News and the right and Republicans in general, I wish they would just admit that they only want rich white people allowed in the U.S. I wish they could just finally admit that their perverted nationalism is just there to slightly cover up their racism. Because of course Tomi Lahren came out with the final thoughts. She couldn't understand why we're calling for the abolishment of ICE, or for ICE to at least be restructured at the bare minimum. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Tomi can talk all day about the numbers as far as drugs getting stopped from coming in, as far as child sex trafficking and human trafficking and all of that. But what Tomi will not mention to you, she won't mention to you that the Border Patrol actually has the highest corruption rate of any government agency. In fact, she also won't mention that ICE actually does not require polygraph or lie detector tests for applicants. And it's one of the only government agencies that's decided to kind of cut corners and not do that. Again, y'all, take some time and look into the turnover rate for Border Patrol. You'll be surprised. Tomi also won't talk about the fact that several ICE agents, numerous and alarming amounts of ICE agents, have been charged and arrested for rape and assault, for beating people detained, for corruption as far as bribery goes. They've even been charged and arrested for assisting in smuggling drugs. We even have cartel members who have been able to infiltrate and be hired by our government as people on ICE. And the other thing, one of the things that's frustrating me the most about ICE is the fact that the Trump administration has now made it legal for ICE to strip citizenship from immigrants. You guys, these are people who came in and earned their citizenship, and we are now stripping it away from them. Does Tomi care about that? No, because they're brown, because they're people of color, and Tomi doesn't care about people of color, just like she doesn't care about the poor, even though she pretends to. And I love that Tomi said she again went into socialist and socialism, and how all of these immigrants here are fleeing from socialism, not to it. The funny thing is, though, Tomi won't mention that the top socialist countries of Canada, China, Denmark, Finland, Ireland, New Zealand, Netherlands, and Sweden, out of all of those socialist countries, only one of them, China, is in our top 5 that immigrates to the U.S. Some countries like Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, where we're seeing a lot of immigrants come from, they're not socialist countries. So what are you talking about? Well, she's talking about Venezuela and trying to use Venezuela. That's centrists and Republicans alike. They just love to toss out Venezuela. Well, let's talk about some final facts about Venezuela. In case you didn't know, their previous person in power, that was Chavez, he had the right idea, you guys, and he was going about it the right way, implementing billions into welfare, and it worked, you guys. It worked. He cut their poverty in half. But what happened is it became too dependent on oil, and that's where it all fell apart. And then Maduro came in, and Maduro, guess what he's doing right now, you guys, or what he started the process of doing in the last couple of years? He's pushed out Supreme Court justices to fill the Supreme Court with his own cronies, so that way he could strip the opposition of power so no one can check him. Who else is in power right now trying to fill the Supreme Court with people who agree with him to change everything and make sure no one can check him? I wonder who. Could it be Trump? I don't know. Maybe that's who I'm talking about. I don't know. So I thought that was really, really funny. And what I really found interesting too, of course, Miss Tomi Lahren, who's like, where's the feminists? Why doesn't anyone defend conservative women? Why aren't women empowering each other? And then decides to completely bash Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a Latina woman who just won in New York and has a chance at winning a seat in Congress. And it's so funny that Tomi would be against someone like Alexandria, because Tomi talks all day long about how she wants Trump to drain the swamp, and Alexandria did exactly that. She went out, she didn't have the money, she didn't have the big super PAC, she didn't have the sponsors, she didn't have anything like that. She went out and went door to door and got the people to vote for her, to choose her. She did it the right way, the American way. She is someone who is standing up for her community because she's been there and been a part of that community and knows what it's like. And Tomi, let me just end with this. I think it is hilarious. It is hilarious that you say democratic socialism is an oxymoron. Meanwhile, you support law enforcement and you're making this whole video about law enforcement when that's literally a product of socialism. If you don't like socialism, then stop standing up for law enforcement. Stop, don't use our firefighters, don't use our roads, our schools, don't use any of that. What are you talking about? This has been my final facts. I hope you guys enjoyed. That's the facts to her thoughts. That's the truth. And again, if you guys like what you see, check me out, Final Facts with Alyssa. You can check me out and donate to my Patreon. And please look into Emilio Perez, my sponsor. Link is below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.